All right, we're here for a little instant reaction from the Baylor LIU game. 30-7, the Bears take this one. Zach, what were kind of your thoughts coming out of this?
I mean, I think it's the running attack kind of led the way. They kind of were the star, especially in the second half there. Dawson Pendergrass, true freshman, 111 yards. Richard Reese kind of getting back on track, scoring a couple touchdowns, fifth multi-touchdown game of his young Baylor career. So for me, the running game, it was kind of ground and pound all day, long drives. Seemingly, I think every Baylor scoring drive was a really long drive. And
Yeah, at one point you said this is like 1986 football.
it was just running through the tackles and throwing to tight ends. And,
Mm-hmm.
that's what it was, but it worked. And especially in the second half, there was a 2-hour weather delay. And after the second half, Baylor kind of came out and looked like a different team. So
They did. I wrote a lot about how I felt like there was kind of just this sleepy sort of malaise over the stadium for certainly the first half and maybe a little bit into the second half. I agree with you that they certainly showed more energy in the second half, which was a good sign. Dave Aranda was asked about, how can y'all have that energy, for four quarters? And he was a little puzzled by, the fact that they didn't, because they had, as he called it, the best week of practices since he's been in Waco.
Right.
So, that's a little puzzling, but there were good things. Obviously, the win is a good thing for Baylor. And defensively, it was kind of just they did what they had to do. Right. And I thought a good sign was when Carl Williams got the pick after Baylor had just fumbled the ball back to LIU, and very first play. He read that perfectly, made a good play, and Baylor gets the ball back. And that's, the definition of complementary football.
Yeah, and he's a true fresh. He's another true freshman. We already mentioned Pendergrass, Caden Jenkins. He defensive back, another true freshman having a big game. And I know last week I was gushing about DJ Coleman. I didn't see him much today, if at all. But so it's like all these young players that are really stepping up. And you can go kind of down the list. Richard Reese is a sophomore. Sawyer Robertson's a sophomore. There's a lot of young players stepping up in big spots, and today at least they came through. Maybe that's kind of the reason those first two games went the way they did. I don't know.
That's a good point, because honestly, when you look back at some of the more successful seasons Baylor's had in recent memory, including the 2021 season where, they win the Big 12 championship, go to the Sugar Bowl. And then, 2 years before that, when they went to the Sugar Bowl, those were very veteran led teams for Baylor. And you do have a lot of freshmen and sophomores playing key roles out there, which is kind of unusual. Yeah. And so they're showing some things, and they're also probably occasionally making rookie mistakes. Right. And I think we saw that again from Sawyer Robertson. He forced a few throws that I didn't think he had to, and he was lucky to get some of them back. I mean, they were kind of lucky that he didn't have another interception today, but still a win. They'll take it and move on to Texas next week, which should be a fun. Tough one. Yeah, it should be fun. A lot to talk about as we go into next week, and I will break it down on the podcast. It'll be fun. I'm going to reach out to Kirk and Sid and see if we can get them on the podcast. I'm sure they'll be always fun to talk to. Always.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for hopping on with us. Appreciate it.